Good evening. Good evening. Today, I want to share from Isaiah 61, verse 3. And I love this whole passage, but I just want to focus on one part of this verse. And I'll even read the whole thing. To appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give unto them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he might be glorified. And I was reading somewhere today, and it was talking about how that the trees that grow in the wind and live among the places where it's stormy and windy, these trees are stronger than the trees that are grown where there is no wind. And I did a little research, which actually I'll just read it real quick. And it was talking about they found that these trees didn't completely mature in a biosphere because they would collapse. It was found out that this was caused by the lack of wind in the biosphere. And it turns out wind plays a major role in a tree's life. The presence of wind makes a tree stronger. It is thus able to mature and not fall down due to its own weight. So, and I think that it's interesting that the Lord is talking about mourning and ashes and heaviness, and also talking about how we are going to be called trees of righteousness, because it is these very things, mourning and ashes and heaviness, that is making us the strong trees that the Lord has planted. It is these things that God is using to sway us back and forth. This is actually, like Matt showed me the other day, it's the north wind, right? That's the wind of tribulation and trouble and heartache and sorrow. And it's this wind that's coming. And even the south wind, is bringing a little bit of joy and praise and oil and beauty. But it's these two conflicting winds that's blowing the tree back and forth. We experience mourning, we experience praise, we experience beauty, we experience ashes, we experience heaviness, we experience righteousness. You know what I mean? Like, we're getting blown back and forth by these two different winds that God has placed in our life. And it's not like we're double-minded. Not like the double-minded blown and tossed by a wave of the sea. Not the same thing. It's more the seasons of our life. It's more the trials and tribulations and testing that God allows to bring us to maturity, to bring us into a place where we live and forever. You know what I mean? Where we can't be uprooted easily. We don't collapse under the weight of pressure. You know, like some of those other trees were collapsing under the weight of their own growth because they didn't have the strength to sustain the growth, because they hadn't been in any storms. They hadn't been blown and tossed by any wind. So let's look at that. Let's look at nature. Let's learn from that. And let's see that the Lord sees us as trees, that he planted. And And just as the trees are strengthened by wind and storms, so also are we. Amen.